Hello, I'm Seafood Source editor Sean Murphy. We're here at the Demonstration Theater here in Boston. I'm here with Chef Rick Moonen, who is the chef owner of RM Seafood in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And you're going to be doing a cooking demonstration first with some salmon, and you have a sample of some farmed Atlantic salmon.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you for a second about that because I know you've got a lot of opinions about this. You're big into conservation and the environment.
Yep.
And when they talk about farmed salmon, there's a lot of kind of black and white criticism. It's either all of it's good for you, all of it's good for the environment, or none of it's good for you, none of it's good for the environment.
Right.
The reality is it's really kind of somewhere in the between, isn't it?
Absolutely. There are companies that are doing a much better job, and for the last decade, there's been issues, stumbling stones, in the growth of an industry that has just been exploding. Mm-hmm. I mean, half of the world right now is consuming seafood from a farm. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, that wasn't true.
Right.
So there's a real need for it. And because, as we grow from 7 billion people to 9 billion over the next 2 decades, we need to find some food security. And it's going to happen in large scale scenarios. Mm-hmm. And the big companies took note of this. And True North, as a brand from Cook Aquaculture, is putting out that message. And I studied it for a year. I didn't just jump in and become a brand ambassador because I thought it was a keen idea.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the fact that they're integrating what nature does to help keep the ecosystem in a balanced situation, creating a healthy environment where better product is coming from consistently, less density of fish in the open net pens, less stress on the animals, less need for antibiotics. The byproduct, the effluent that comes out as a result, is now being absorbed by the environment through the different trophic situations that happen naturally. Okay. They're having kelp farms right next to their salmon farms, and in mussel farms next to the kelp farms, and they're all helping to just consume what nature would normally produce anyway. And so what's coming out is a fresh, delicious, omega-3, healthy, farm-raised product that's delicious. I'm a chef, and at the end of the day, I want something I can serve my guests and be proud of, and that's exactly what True North Salmon delivers. So I'm excited.
So what do you think are some of the first steps if you're a restaurateur or you're a buyer and you're trying to get in on this? What are some of the first questions you need to ask of your supplier?
Well, as far as farm raised?
Yeah, farm raised.
Usually it's about feed, what's in your feed. And in True North, it's non-GMO, and it's actually, because fish are carnivores, they have to be fed more fish. Right. So if it takes 5 pounds of sardines to make 1 pound of salmon, inefficient. And years ago, that's the way it was. Yeah. And now they've worked out the formula now where it's actually protein positive. It takes 0.8 pounds of fish to create 1 pound of salmon. So, and that's through like ingenious formulas. And that's something you should ask, is what's the feed ratio? Fish in, fish out, and to escapes. I mean, there's so many other things, but as far as concerned as a consumer, where's it coming from? What's going on? There are 20 other things that surround it, just confuse everything, and that's why I think branding is where it comes in, because just ask for True North, and that you're going to get something that's environmentally responsible. It's going to be delicious. It's available, and it's fresh. And
talking about feed too, the smaller fish meal ratio has another benefit too, because it's fewer concentrations of contaminants. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So there's less chances you're going to get any trace elements of
PCBs,
like methylmercury, etc.
Okay, so the smaller ratio of fish feed, the better for that as well.
Right, you find it in the highest concentrations in the big fish.
Right.
In the pelagic species, that are
the shark, the swordfish, all that stuff.
Exactly, tunas, etc. And so if we start to eat a little lower on the food chain, we're going to be better just our health-wise and environmentally. It's always a smart choice. But when it comes to salmon, the #1 selling finfish in the world, this is where the world has a comfort. They already have an attachment to salmon. And finally, it doesn't just have to be wild. And don't get me wrong, I love wild salmon. Yeah. But you can't feed the world on wild salmon. You can't have it 12 months a year on a consistent basis. That's right. And this is what the hospitality industry needs in order to survive, because that's what they're delivering every single day to their customers, consistency. And here's where you can get it. Healthy, delicious, fresh, and good for the environment. Okay, some good things for the industry to know, good things for restaurateurs to know. Chef Moonen, thanks so much for your expertise. You bet. Thank you.
Keep watching Seafood Source for more coverage of Seafood Expo North America. Reporting from Boston, I'm Sean Murphy for Seafood Source.